There truly is no better time to be alive than right now. Welcome to the Upward and Onward podcast. Let's get it.
On today's episode of Upward and Onward, I'm sitting down with Ana from the Heal Room, the best place to go in Rhode Island for your well-being and sustainable product needs. Ana, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. That was a nice intro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel so good. We just did some breath work. I feel relaxed. I can feel the positive vibes. So thank you for being yourself and just bringing that positive energy into this room.
Aww.
Yeah.
I also feel it. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Very exciting energy happening right now.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Now, for someone who doesn't know you and you were to describe yourself with one word, what would that word be?
What?
Yeah.
That's so hard.
I know. You got to pick one.
One word. Man, today I was thinking about how much I love everything, and I would say maybe versatile. Okay, that's kind of a whack word, but that was the first thing that popped into my mind.
That's great.
Yeah.
You must be versatile. I mean, you're multifaceted. You seem to be doing a lot of cool things.
Yeah, there's a better word, but I can't picture it, where it's just kind of this wavy, I could say the word wavy. I'm wavy.
I'm with you right now. That's fitting.
Yeah.
Here in the Ocean State, you gotta be a little wavy.
That's true.
What's up? So you are one of the owners of the Heal Room. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, the Heal Room, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do there and some of these services that you offer?
Yeah, so the Heal Room is a wellness space. We're located in East Providence, Rhode Island. We have a retail portion in the Heal Room where it's a zero waste store for bath, body, cleaning products. You can bring in your own container and fill up on any of the essentials. And basically what we're trying to create is a circular economy where people can buy something and reuse it over and over again. And then we have a studio portion where it's a big event space, and we do yoga, workshops, wellness events. We also have healing offerings and just things that really intermingle sustainability and healing into one.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. So, has it always been the Heal Room? In your mind, say when you were younger and you thought of what you wanted to be and kind of what you wanted to do in this world, was it always this idea of sustainability and well-being, kind of spreading that to others? Has that been an idea for you?
Not really.
Really?
No, not at all.
What was it then? What do you want to be when you
I'm very wavy,
You're very wavy, clearly.
And I think I have a hard time sticking to one thing. And I literally just made a video about this, and made a video about just how I'm multi-passionate, and I've always just, even when I was little, I just remember being I want to be a teacher and a doctor, and I want to ride horses. And I just wanted to be so many things, and it's still very real, for me to this day, where I'm I want to be a business owner, but I also want to be a dancer, but I also want to create videos, and, but I think that there's this beautiful thread that ties all of our passions together. And I recently read, or I saw this video where the woman talks about a lot of us being in a Renaissance era, because during the Renaissance people pursued multiple creative passions, and it was really applaud. Yeah. And nowadays people just pursue one thing. They're try to perfect it, because they're in corporate world, it's you're gonna choose this and you're gonna get better at it, and that's what you're gonna do for the rest of your life. Yeah. And I think that naturally humans are not meant to do that. I think we're naturally meant to explore different things, and I think entrepreneurship has really drilled that in me, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly evolving and trying new things. And to this day, even as I'm running my own business, I continue to let the business evolve and also let myself evolve into trying new things and doing new things, because I don't want to be doing the same thing for the rest of my life.
That's fair. That does sound a little daunting. It's just monotonous, and you just don't really expand to your full potential in some ways. So
exactly right. Yeah. There's so much it's going to the edge of who you are,
see who I really am, exactly. What I'm capable of. kind of
Right.
yourself.
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. That's like a great way of just saying that you have really a growth mindset instead of having this fixed mindset where what you are and what you're capable of is just that, but you really think in a way that you can be more, you can do more, you can put more out into the world too. So super cool. You said that you didn't really know that the heel room would have been a thing when you were younger. Going into college, what did you study?
I studied kinesiology.
Okay.
Yeah, and it took me like almost 3 years to figure out what I wanted to major in.
Okay.
And then I was like, you know what? I love exercising, so I'm going to study the human body. And that's what I did. And then I was having a hard time getting into the program of physical therapy. Or actually, I just had a really bad advisor, and she was like, you're never going to get into the program, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up just going the route of adaptive physical education. So it's like kinesiology, but teaching kids how to move their body, basically. So that's what I studied in school. I did it after college for a while. And now I teach yoga. So it's kind of like full circle because I take a lot of what I learned in anatomy and physiology and apply it to my yoga.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Time well spent.
Yeah, so it wasn't a waste. And I still love movement. It's always been like an anchor for me where I'm like, okay, movement is one thing that my thread that I'm going to use to like incorporate all my other passions.
I feel like living in Rhode Island, what I've heard is that if you even separate some of your trash, like the recyclables and actual trash compost, that not often is it that they all get separated at the dump and go to where they should go to be recycled and all those things. Is that true from what you've like heard?
Yeah, so recycling is very non-existent. One of like this fact that I throw out there sometimes is that only 9% of the world's plastic has ever been recycled. And I think it's like lower now. It might be like 7%. Reason being is because recycling was really made to make the consumer feel responsible for their plastic and not the corporations that are creating plastic like Coca-Cola and Dasani and all of these things. So they didn't want to be responsible for like all the plastic that they're creating. So they blamed it on the consumer, started recycling campaigns. If you recycle, if you don't, then you're a bad person. And so the reason being is because plastic is just very cheap. So it's easy to make. It's more cheap to make new plastic than it is to recycle and like have all these systems in recycling. So what I call it whenever I throw something into the recycling bin is wish cycling. But I think it's still important to like wish cycle, even though it's like weird, but it's the intention, right? It's like, okay, you're intending to be a better person, even though you know that this might not get recycled. And there's still that small percentage, right? There's things that do get recycled more often than plastic, like aluminum cans and boxes. Yeah, so those things get recycled a little more, but the reality of plastic is that a lot of it is just not really able to be recycled, sadly.
Nice.
And
very unfortunate.
Yeah, so that's the reason why, the initiation of the heel room happens, because I'm like, man, if people are constantly buying things that they're recycling but not really, how can we stop this from happening? And the best way, not the solution, but the best way right now that we have is to reuse a lot of the things that we buy. And I think like our refill station does a really good job of helping people keep things like shampoo bottles and lotion bottles and dish liquid, laundry liquid bottles out of landfills and out of the oceans too. I think that moving forward, there's a lot of better solutions too, and things that we're also incorporating in our store, like shampoo bars, and we have laundry sheets and things that come in a little box and like a cardboard box, and then it's like completely biodegradable, so then there's literally no waste being created. So there's options out there, but it's just not available to the average consumer. And I think the education is also not available to the average consumer. To even like 2024, I'm like, hello, like, but it's crazy. Like, it's still just such a problem that just continues.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can so see that. And I think it's a lot of emphasis on the education, like knowing the facts. Just knowing is maybe half the problem that you can solve, just so that you can be better. So thank you for educating people out there so they could be better. Now, you mentioned that you went to college, studied kinesiology, and then you went to California, and the Heal Room started because you were thinking of how to be more sustainable. As you began just the business, turning that from a concept into something that's actually feasible, were there any challenges that you ran into, and what was the process like?
I started blogging. Like, that's how I started. So I'm like, oh, I want to be more sustainable. And I started like just blogging on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I made a new account. And then I would just show people what is the process of becoming more sustainable. And so I would make my own things. I would make my own products, make my own milk. I became vegetarian.
Okay.
So I like literally turned my whole life around. Yeah. In like less than a couple months. I mean, I was obsessed.
Okay.
I was obsessed. And I was really hard on myself too. If I ever used plastic, I would like dwell on it for days. So yeah, starting that process was very creative and intuitive, but then it had to turn like more businessy. People kept saying, why don't you like sell the things that you make? And like I'm like, well, I never like ran a business before. So I just started with friends, and then eventually when I was moving, because I was still in California, when I was moving back to Rhode Island, I would go to zero waste stores to get some of my products. And I was like, wait a minute, like why don't I start something like this in Rhode Island since I'm not going to have it anymore? And so when I moved here, I literally did everything by myself. I took out a credit card loan. I like did a bunch of research. I wouldn't sleep. I literally would be up until like 3 a.m, like researching where to get products and where to do this and where to do that. And it was just like I had a very big drive to just create this because it was really exciting for me to be able to offer that in Rhode Island. So creating or like making that into a concept was really not reinventing the wheel, but like researching and seeing what do the stores that I like have and where do they order from, and you know, writing those processes down and figuring out how to make it my own.
Which is so cool. So cool. You spoke about like kind of getting the products that you need. Do you get the products that you sell locally, or do you just try to do your best in that regard? How do you actually get the products?
So a lot of the products that we source are local.
Okay.
We have a lot of handmade products in store, especially from like Rhode Island makers. And then we have some that are just not able to get them locally. So we get them from like more progressed states like California or like Oregon, but it's like a very small percentage, and a lot of them have really cool programs where they do like a big shipping to a state, so it's not like individually shipping to each door, but it's a little bit more sustainable because they ship it to one location and like different people come and get it. So we've sourced from companies that are very into sustainability and very into ethical practices and just very mindful and intentional about the products that they have. I used to make a lot of the products, but I don't anymore because I don't have the capacity for it.
Wow.
So now I'm like, you know, I'm going to find people that are dedicated to making things so that I can focus on running the operations of the store and the studio and everything else. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which I imagine is a lot to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it must be fun. You seem to...
Yeah, it's fun, you know, you have your ups and downs, like with anything, and, you know, we were just talking outside about how every path is hard, has its own hardships, whether you do a 9 to 5 or whether you, like, are an entrepreneur, everything is discipline and hardships, and you just got to pick your heart and know that it's not always going to feel good. Like, there are times that people ask me, like, how's everything? And I'm like, meh, like, I'm completely over it. Like, and then there's times when people ask me and I'm like a shooting star talking about it. And those are the ebbs and flow of everything in life.
True.
Especially in entrepreneurship.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I believe it. I can only imagine. Yeah. I feel like there just has to be a natural balance in the world. Like, even for myself.
Yeah.
If I have a couple bad days in a row or something bad happens to me, I don't necessarily get too down on myself because I know that there has to be a balance. I can't have all good and things not necessarily go less than good. So that's really good that you keep this balance, just knowing that things will ebb and flow and you kind of just roll with.
Right.
Yeah.
There was this quote that I saw a long time ago, but it stayed with me, and it's the rule of thirds. When you're doing something that you love, or when you're just doing something like out of the box. And it tells you like a third of the time you're going to feel ecstatic, like, wow, I'm doing the best thing ever. And then a third of the time you're going to be just kind of like in the limbo and feel okay. And then another third of the time you're going to be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And it's so true. And just bringing consciousness to those times when you're in that lower third of the moment is very important. Just honoring yourself and being like, yeah, this is just part of like how you said, like the yin and yang, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So on any given Saturday, what do you guys have going on? You mentioned a couple different classes, but what's your favorite one to teach?
Right now, my favorite class to teach is the one that we do Saturdays at 11 a.m. because it's outside. Ooh. And it's right in front of the heel room. There's a library, so we like partnered with the library, and I teach that class outside. And it's my favorite because I just love being out in nature, and just like, I think yoga is like so nice in nature. You just have the trees, the land, the dirt, the wind. You have all of the elements with you. So that's my favorite class to teach right now. I also teach to special needs adults, and we just do like Zumba, and like we just have so much fun.
Start
and
moving
it's
the
like
body.
Yeah,
get into
and they
it.
love it, and it's kind of like a favorite to teach right now, just because it's like so fun and adorable.
I believe it. That is awesome. I love that. Now, is everyone able to come to the Hill Room? Is it maybe just better for older folks, younger folks, anyone in particular, or?
Yeah, I mean, yoga's for everybody, honestly. Like, and I know it's such a thing that you just hear. It's like a cliche, but it really is. I think there's so many aspects to yoga. Like, we did breath work in the beginning of class, and that's a part of yoga too. We have meditation classes only, where you're just sitting and meditating. We have slow flows where it's like more relaxing and you're just doing like little deep stretches, and then we have vinyasa, which is a little bit more fast paced. You're moving with the breath and kind of like creating a little fire within, but all of our classes are very beginner friendly. And right now, like in the outdoor class, the oldest person in my class was probably like 60 something, and the youngest person was probably like 12. So
That's awesome.
And everybody really enjoyed it. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, I think learning about nature and learning about sustainability really opened up the door, and even just starting my own business really opened up the door of like asking questions and curiosity that I didn't have before. But I'm like, what is this, and how can I learn more about this? And believe it or not, like tuning in and helping Mother Nature made or like started a ripple effect of connecting to a deeper energy of what it means to like be here on earth. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in trees, and there's a lot of wisdom in the elements, and I think that that path led me to wonder more about my own consciousness. And that's when I realized, man, like working on myself and working on my own like root system, right? Because I always talk about like we're also nature. Working on my own root system intermingles with working with the earth, and I always find such a beautiful philosophy in planting and working in gardens, and there's just so many lessons of like, whoa, this is kind of like what it is in life. So I think that there's so much wisdom in nature that teaches us about ourselves. Yeah,
I would agree. I feel like for myself, it was 2 years ago, and myself and my girlfriend, we built a garden. It's a really nice big bed, and we plant tomatoes, we plant rosemary, mint, cucumbers. This year we're doing a watermelon. Peppers. Awesome. It's so fun. And in those moments of seeing something go from just being planted to then blossoming and turning into something that we could harvest, I just became way more, I feel, grounded. I had a couple of realizations like, wow, nature is really beautiful, and that also what meets the eye when you go to like a grocery store. I feel like it's so easy to just be like, oh, these things just happen. Food just comes to us because it's supposed to, and it's always came to us. You go to the grocery store, the food's supposed to be there. But through gardening, I feel like even I've learned that, like you mentioned, nature and how things can maybe not go well, whether if that's a plant that didn't actually grow to what it could have been, or that just seeing something kind of progress and naturally be so beautiful in regards to just it being a seed to then being this big plant that you can then enjoy the fruits of. It's just, it made me just think so much more about like myself, and also like you mentioned, being conscious, being alive, how you are also part of this world, and what you put in is just really, really important. To not take that for granted. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, and just really beautiful that you said all of that, because we do take for granted, and that is part of the message of the Heal Room. It's like we are consuming at such a rapid rate everything, because we don't think about where did this come from, who made it, how does its life end. And I think that's what, you know, a circular economy teaches us. Like, it teaches us like the lifespan of something, and that's something that you learned through gardening, because it's like, oh my god, like this is a process, and this is something that I have to like have reverence for, because it took my labor, and it took the nature's labor, and I'm going to savor and eat this way more intentionally, and it's going to taste way better, because now I'm like thinking about every step of the way of like where it came from.
Speaking of traveling, is that something that you do often?
Yeah, I love traveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really like a dream of mine to just travel the world forever.
Where is the next place on your list that you would love to go to?
So in October, I'm going to this place called Havasupai.
Where's that?
It's in the inside of the Grand Canyon.
Actually?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that there was a place that you could go to inside of the Grand
Yeah, it's really like, it's low-key kind of exclusive. You have to get a permit, and I got my permit almost 5 years ago, and because of the pandemic, they closed for 3 years.
Interesting.
So I was gonna go like 5 years ago, and then they kept, because it's actually a tribe. So they live there, and it's a 10-mile hike into the Grand Canyon, and they don't have, you know, much resources when it comes to like hospitals and stuff like that. So they closed it for like 3 years, and now I'm finally going.
Wow, that's exciting. Super exciting. I've heard great things about the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Just how beautiful it is. And I've seen pictures, like people have gone there, but they always tell me, like, you just have to go see it for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
You should put a picture of Havasupai somewhere.
Havasupai.
Because it's freaking beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Havasupai.
There's like a really big blue waterfall. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be like, this is in America?
I know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Wow. Okay, I got to get out more. I feel like Rhode Island has this gravitational pull where people don't often leave, at least for good. So we got to just kind of
take ourselves out of that matrix.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
What do you like to do in your free time?
That's a good question, because I'm constantly like working on my business. I recently just picked up bush jumping.
Bush jumping? That can't be legit. No. Wait. Can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
All right. Is it like a sport where similar to like hurdles and track, like you jump over a hurdle, but it's a bush?
No.
Okay.
I made it up. No, I'm kidding.
Are you serious right now? No way.
No, so me and my boyfriend like jump into bushes sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean sometimes? Like, you know, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think I saw a video of it.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, so you're not lying. Wow. Okay.
No, but that's just like something we do for fun.
That's
like
so
silly. But I like to do a lot of things. I like to skateboard.
Really?
I picked up surfing more recently. I like working out and dancing. What else do I do in my free time? I hang out with my cat.
There you go.
And I scroll social media way too much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm going to ask you a couple silly questions if you're cool with that.
I love silly questions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
If the Heal Room had a mascot, what would it be?
Oh my god. It's a tree.
A tree. That's fitting.
Yeah.
And why?
Because we're all about nature, and we're all about, you know, just kind of like, we're like tree huggers, honestly. Like, if you like love the Heal Room, you probably love hugging trees. So if we had a mascot that was a tree, they would give out free hugs. So now it would be like the other way around,
I like
you
that.
know?
I like that. If you had to be stuck in one yoga position for the entire day, what would it be?
Shavasana.
What's Shavasana? Is that when you lay on your back?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's cheating. Is that actually a pose?
Shavasana is probably one of the hardest poses, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, because people just have to lay there, and they're like, people don't know how to stay still.
True.
Can I ask you a silly question?
Ask me a silly question.
Okay.
I'm scared. Guys.
Let's see. What would I ask if there was a silly question?
No.
Okay. If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Sounds cliche, and it sounds so cliche. I'd be a lion. I'd want to be a lion. I'd want
Really?
to be the king of the jungle. Yeah, I'd want to have my people with me, my pack, and we roll together. And I would love for them to also feel safe around me. They'd feel confident. I want to be there to kind of provide for them and kind of lead the way in some regards. So.
Sounds like you're already a lion.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to be a lion. So. But it sounds so cliche. I'll choose a different one. I will choose I want to be a penguin.
A penguin.
Yeah, I want to be a penguin. Because I am always like super warm for one. So living somewhere like
Cold.
would be nice. I wouldn't be like as warm for one. And two, I think it looks really cool when they're like just like waddling, but then they also like just like dive on their belly and they just like glide. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. So.
Do you know that actually male penguins are the ones who take care of the egg?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Like that.
So you would be like a stay-at-home dad. There's
down.
like, no gender roles in penguin world.
I love penguins.
Yeah.
I always knew I loved penguins. Now, thinking back on your experience as the owner of the Heel Room, and you've gone through trials and tribulations of being an entrepreneur, what's advice that you'd give to someone who's out there thinking about starting their own business?
If you're thinking about starting your own business, I would say that you should probably do it. Yeah, I would say go for it. It seems as though like this is maybe the way to go and for freedom. Starting your own business is extremely hard. So be wise about, what kind of business you want to start. Do research on what it is that feels good for you and that feels good or that people are looking for. What solution are you trying to solve? But totally just like go for it. A lot of people take so much time just trying to figure out the nitty gritty and like get it perfect. But I always say just jump and try it out. And that is the learning process in itself, right? Like you just have to it's kind of like being a parent. Like, people say you're never really prepared. Well, it's the same thing with being a business. You're never really prepared, so you can do all the research you want, but you're not going to learn until you start. And my other advice would be to like let the business evolve. Don't get so attached to like what it is that you created, because when we become attached and like not let things grow, like a relationship, like a child, it's like you stunt their growth. So let it grow, let it evolve, let it become what feels good for you in whatever moment that you're at.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. Anything else that you want to talk about or just tell our people who are watching here before we get out of here?
I think like just get to know yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Get to know yourself. Like know your psyche, know yourself, and that will make you better in any area where you want to go, whether it's you want to stay in your job, whether you want to start a business. Knowing like who you are, knowing your boundaries, knowing what you like, knowing how you move as an entrepreneur, as a leader is just always going to make everything better. And like accepting everything about you and accepting your flaws and being like, hey, I'm not really that good at that. I'm getting better, but I can outsource somebody to do that. And I just think like knowing yourself is really like our purpose, right? I don't think our purpose is to become millionaires. I don't think our purpose is whatever, society tells us. Our purpose is just to get to know yourself and like know your soul and find your way to who you are, right? Like, so that's like really the thing that I always tell people, like, just get to know yourself. It's fun and it's hard and it's just like the ebb and flow of entrepreneurship, but it's worth it. It's really worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, guys, the purpose of life has been unlocked. Get to know yourself. I love it. This was an awesome time sitting down with you, Ana.
Oh, thank you so much, Ali.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
I had so much fun. And I'm looking forward to coming over to the Heal Room, doing some yoga. And getting
Yes,
to see everybody, so.
come through. Our September schedule is going to be really fun.
Ooh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Is there anything that people should know about coming up?
Yeah, so well, visit our website at thehealroom.co, and you can see all of our upcoming events. We have a women's circle every month. We also have a psychedelic integration, learning how to use psychedelics as therapy session September 1st. So we just have like a lot of fun stuff coming up. So I would totally check out the website and follow us at The Heal Room on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ana.
Thank you.
We'll see you later, guys.
Peace.
Peace.